everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be reapproaching our Orzhov Bat deck. I guess this one isn't mine particularly, but it did recently just win a Super Qualifier challenge. The Super Qualified messed me up. I wanted to say qualified, and it's like, it's not me, somebody else did it. But Super Qualifiers are a higher stakes tournament than MTGO challenges, which we kind of feature those deck lists a lot. If there's something interesting that wins, a lot of times it's either blue-black, like our blue-black or Demir mid-range or kind of domain, and it's like, well, I don't know if we really care that much about that. But at the end of the day, this deck took down a Super Qualifier, which is a lot more important in terms of stakes on MTGO and what it provides you. So we have a lot of removal in this deck. We have cut downs, we have go for the thirds, we have shoot the sheriff, and then we also have a Legions to Ashes. And then in our mid-range plan, it kind of primarily focuses around two cards along with stabilization cards, being Zoraline, Cosmos Color. This card has an ETB, or enter the battlefield trigger, and any attacks trigger. You may pay a white and a black and 2 life. When you do, return target non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Finality just means if it dies again, it's getting exiled or gets blown up. So that does get around kind of these weird restrictions where, like, if we temporarily lock down the board and our opponent gets lost it, well, Zoraline can bring it back and bring all those creatures back underneath the temporary lockdown if need be. Or Liliana hits in the same bill where we might minus Liliana and it'll have 1 loyalty and then they get it off the board, and then Zoraline can bring it back, maybe minusing again or plussing from there. Or in some situations where we alt Liliana, it's really nice to alt Liliana and then attack and then bring it back and then plus on their hand again, which is super devastating because they think it's gone and they might be able to get back in, but then Liliana's plussing on them again. Or a Loran, whenever this card's good, it's great. Whenever it's bad, it's kind of mediocre. Sometimes you have to give your opponent a card, draw a card to get out of hotspots. That's roughly what it is. And Deep-Cavern Bat, because it's probably our best 2-drop for a deck like this, especially against control, when they might counter this with 3 steps ahead, and then Zoraline can just always bring it back later. Other than that, we have 2 Bezas to stabilize the board, as Beza does well. 2 Season of Burrow to also stabilize the board, as it also does that really, really well. And then we have Virtue of Loyalty to help us win the game. Aclazotz to be kind of a, all right, we both have nothing left. Let me use Aclazotz. If it's a land, let me bring it back, and hopefully this can close out the game. Or we can use our very top end card in Virtue of Persistence and minus on creatures and gain life, or help us stay alive in those mono red matchups. Other than that, the main land to focus on is Fountainport here. This was the best card, best with Preacher of the Schism, because of the tokens that it makes, or even with Season of the Burrow, if we do make a token. Great, but oftentimes we might end up seeing this make a treasure as we kind of get into our bigger end cards here. But other than that, we do have a sideboard, as again, this one a best of 3 tournament, so it'll also be in the link in the description below if you're interested. Outside of that, let's go ahead and hop into the games and see how they go. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. I truly appreciate it. The final note that I do know, this is a thing I've talked about for best of 1 purposes. If you do want to play this in best of 1, you might want to squeeze in Cavern of Souls in here. Pretty good for like naming Bat, as we have a lot of those, or like important creatures if we're trying to get them to resolve. But other than that, we're just going to run the super qualified list out into the wilderness and see how well it can do in the best of 1 format. Interesting. Wow, who would have thought? It's mono red. What a coin flip that was. What an interesting situation we're in. I'm just holding up go for the third for when they target this hero with something inevitably. I mean, sure, I guess. I get through this entire turn with taking 1 damage, I'll do it. And then with that play, I'm just going to go ahead and play Zoraline. I can either lightning strike it out of the way, or I can get with some combat damage with it and gain life because it is a bat and it is attacking. Yeah, there's the lightning strike. Kind of assumed so. Legion is pretty good. We want this to be an untapped land. Shoot the sheriff is weird because it works now, but like, not really what I want here. And I think the answer is no. See if they have a shock ready. I will take your only creature. They say nice, but they're going to rip another creature off the top. It's mono red. Alright, well. Less good, obviously. You're gonna play it and leave it vulnerable? Wow, they actually do. I figured considering their entire hand's castable that they wouldn't do this. Now what do I want to do? Do I want to play Aclazotz? Probably not, right? Because then I just lose my creature. And this deck is a deck that plays Manifold Mouse, so I should play Temporary Lockdown. Because Legion to Ashes is way better against Manifold Mouse because it exiles it and the token that they make. Yeah. Play nothing so I can put this Aclazotz in play. Okay, interesting. Yeah, you got ready to combat. I got nothing here. Sure. I like that plan. Fun. Having a 3/3 indestructible creature is very good. It is very good at blocking. It is very good at bringing things back that matter. I wish they would have lightning striked it. Well, it's the stuff you pray for, you know. Now, to be fair, this is too large, and sure, why not the third Monstrous Rage? Why not? I don't really want to target it with the Monstrous Rage, though. At some point, I got to get this bat in play. All right. Sure. Take 5. Zoraline, as you can tell, doesn't die. Very important reasons. Now, I could do whatever, but I think just playing an Aclazotz here makes sense. Then I'll attack and I'll gain 1. Now I have 7 toughness. 4 of it lifelink. Hey, the creature to fling at me. Would you look at that? They can actually win here because of it. Oh, dude, if they would have had it, though, you would have saw me lose my mind. I'm not even joking. If they would have just flung it at me, I would have went crazy. Where are you going? I love mono red. I have been just playing some practice games, like playing different games, and obviously I was frustrated at the beginning. I've played 4 games. 3 of them have already been mono red. Opponent goes first. This hand's pretty good. We'll keep just knowing the circumstances of the format. Just like mill, and they're gonna target themselves, right? I mean, that's pretty good. This works pretty well. I think this gives -1/-1 when it dies. Yeah, it does. Basically counters with Deep-Cavern Bat. Oh! When it can't block, when it dies, create X1 rats, just because you can't block. When X is the amount of damage dealt to it this turn. Alright, thankfully we don't deal any damage. We can probably just pass here. Just take the chunk, or even just play this Virtue and, like, block something. I don't want to play my Deep-Cavern Bat if I'm looking to temporary lockdown here, and that's exactly what I'm looking to do. Now it's just like, do I try to Virtue and block so I can kind of protect myself? And I think the answer is yes. Like, to keep my life total high against the obviously kind of lower to the ground deck. Block here. I was kind of hoping they would use a cut down. Maybe I should have blocked the vermin, but like I don't think I'm seeing them protect that either. But here's temporary lockdown. We get all 4 of these things on the board. Temporary lockdown, a must main board card now in best of 1. You just have to. If you look at like any site that prioritizes best of 1 gameplay, it is all just lizards, bunnies, mono red. Everything is just super aggro. And this is 1/1 for each of the rat you control whenever you attack with 1 or more rats. Okay. So now we're looking to Deep-Cavern Bat this last card away. The cut down. So thankfully we get that out of there. Whenever you attack with 1 or more rats, there's 7 or more cards in your graveyard. They only have, what, 3 cards in there, including if I go for the throw that? Yeah, that's fine. So, honestly, my plan is to go for the throw this and then just block this. If they show that I'm able to do that. We'll see, though. Ooh. Okay, well, we're going to do this because I don't want to block the 7-1. And we have a play now. Not super pumped. We'll just have to take this damage. Because this Deep-Cavern Bat. I'm going to play this Virtue. And the reason I'm going with Virtue here is because this might be another situation where I just make 5 1/1s. Which with the Virtue in play will become 5 2/2s, and that is 10 power that beats this board. There's a lot. However, this basically negates 3 of it. You know, I gain 2, I block 1, so I go down to 5, go up to 7. Second Deep-Cavern Bat here, which is huge. Huge. You know, let's surveil. Let's see what we find. Loran can go away. It's good, but I don't think I'm here for it. Alright, here's a bunch of bats. Or rabbits, not bats. We hit 2. This one tap. Now, all my 1/1s are equally as your 1/1s, but they're bigger now because they all have counters. Cut down no longer can get a Deep-Cavern Bat, so if they rip another one of these, it's a dead draw, kind of. Obviously, it's not overall a dead draw, but it's not the greatest. Other rats you control have Toxic Blood. Yeah. I'll give them 2 more tokens. That is fine with me. Nothing in there. I can bring back Loran if I want. This comes in. Honestly, yeah. I think just making as big of a board as I physically can is good. And play another Deep-Cavern Bat. And obviously they have nothing. I attack. This triggers. They kind of have to figure out their blocking situation. They can't block with any more than 1. Now my whole board untaps. And I definitely have lethal. The Rat Man is here. They had 7 1/1s still. That's wild. They had a way to grow them all. I don't know if there's a Rat Lord. I don't think there is that I can think of. Or, like, I don't know if the bunny does it, the white one. But obviously they don't have white in their deck. So I don't know how in danger I was here. Because this is whenever enters look top 5, reveal any number of rat cards from among them, put it in your hand, rest of the bottom. So they also missed on this. That it had to be lands, huh? Because they haven't hit a land like the entire game after they hit their 4th. So they must have just hit a pocket of lands. That sucks. I just realized what that card did. I didn't know what any of their cards did, to be honest with you. Oh boy. My ready to game. Yeah, we'll keep. I didn't even look if I was on the play or not. I am. Both these enter tap, so I just play this one and I surveil for more information. Hello. Come to the red creature. You monster, bro. I knew when I had a 45-minute queue it was going to be for mono red. Yeah, we just take that out. Even though that's not really the best one to take out, which is weird to say. But there's already kind of a best one of these creatures to take out. They target themselves. That's what I'm talking about. I really just like ready to play against lizards, but you know, it'll be all right. What's another day if not 10 times playing against mono red? Oh, cut down, huge. Now we have a decision to make. Well, I have Virtue plus cut down, so I'm probably just gonna wait. Does Monstrous Rage actually even save this thing? 2, 3, yeah, it does. Well, because I have 2 plays, I'm down to just kind of pass, see what happens here. I can always, again, I say cycle on this, but that's not necessarily what it is. Now they're holding up 2 spells. You force them to do something with this because I get to throw a block. Now, Damp is the more devastating creature and is a little bit worse for when it comes to pumping it. It's like Monstrous Rage alone doesn't save it, right? Furious Rage is 2/2 on death. Am I supposed to go for it or not? Because it won't. It's 2-0, so it will die, and they'll make a 2/2. Okay, sure. I hope they cast another spell to cash in. Do not. All right. See? I mean, it makes sense, of course, but now we have an option to make. I can opt to cut down this 2/2 or attempt to. Hopefully they I don't know, plot something here. They do nothing, just implying that they're holding up a spell. At that point, I'm just going to go try to remove this guy. I think they're more willing to let it go over their prowess creature. So I think I can fire that off and try. It gives them less action on their following turn anyway. There's the Monstrous Rage that we put them on immediately, so it's not anything new. We'll Surveil here. Preacher's got to be fine, even though it's going to be like the last one of these kind of things to come in. And we have a 3/3, which may or may not be jumping in front of something. I have no idea yet. Even though I guess Monstrous Rage doesn't work on this anymore. They actually have to have a toughness increase. They hit another land. There's a Heartfire hero, so their hand's kind of dead. All right. Whenever your opponent attacks like this, they're offering their trade. When they don't swing the Swiss Spear, it's strictly because they don't have anything to pump. So this last card's either fling or a dead card. So you have options. What we're doing, we go ahead and fetch. Doesn't really matter what we grab here, but we'll grab a swamp based on what our hand is. I could attack with Zoraline and play Virtue, but I think getting the Aclazotz in is much better. Have Zoraline attack. It'll gain us 1 life with pseudo kind of life gain. I don't know what you would call that. Now we have some good pressure on board, and then we'll play a Death Toucher next turn. And, well, maybe a Death Toucher. With that, I'm more inclined to see what they do. They don't attack at all, which I was going to say is going to be actually a horrible idea. And now my opponent is going to go into their settings menu, and they're going to concede the game. Cool for us, you know what I mean? It's a very cool play for us. Now we double attack. Zoraline triggers all over the place. We have nothing in there regardless. And with that said, we take down mono red that goes too wide with creatures. That's the thing with current mono red, even though it is so good, that they play so many creatures sometimes that their hand just gets clunky with them like that. Where, I mean, there's 4 different creatures under here and they had a token, right? Like, these don't pump each other and in any respect at all. Like, Monstrous Rage was their only thing they had, but that said, very cool. We'll move on. We go first. Interesting. Keep this. We're going to start off with a Courtyard with this hand. So we have a cut down open. I mean, I've ran into too much aggro today to not do that. So we will play the Courtyard. And then we can just Surveil next turn. Is this another hello? Oh, no. Oh, no. We are in danger, kind of. It depends what version they are. A lot of times if they're the Drain version, they can get us just because it's a little bit awkward for us to keep up. But we hope we get to cut down a thing here, and then we can play Preacher. Perfect way for this kind of to work out. We cut down this. We play a Preacher, and then we kind of hope it gets to attack, even though they're going to go up to 21. We don't necessarily have a way to make them lose life, so Preacher's only going to make 1/1s, which is actually okay in this matchup. Going a little bit wide is sometimes needed, but the problem with that is they have flying. All their creatures have flying. We don't want to tell them what we have on top, so we won't show it. We don't need to show it regardless. We play our Preacher. It might get hit with the Go for the Throat. They might just like play a Zoraline or something. I'm not really sure. Maybe a second Deep-Cavern Bat. Could take damage. Another class. Ooh, that's pretty good. We do have exile effects, and this cares about when it dies. But the 4/3 now, we play here. Do go to combat though. If they're willing to trade, I wouldn't know why. Seems like a crazy trade, but as long as they don't take any damage here on their turn, we can block with our 1/1. Doesn't really matter how large that thing gets as long as it's still within reason, you know. But I doubt that that will be the case. The only thing I really need to dodge is like another Deep-Cavern Bat or a way for them to particularly take out my Season of the Burrow, because I'm looking to exile the Chandler. Not good. Yeah. Just go for the throw. I feel a little bit better. Oh boy. I'm about to get shellacked. All this resolves. I got nothing. We have a land on top. Apparently it was a mistake. We found another land. Honestly, if we could just find a go for a throw, that'd be nice. But again, cares about dying. Our season does exile. Exile target non-land. I believe this says die. Yeah. Sweet. Tackle this. Everything flying anyway, so it didn't really matter. Now we have a Beza, which is good. We'll play this. Pop here. There could be an argument to be made that we just like attack and play the virtue, but I don't think that's reasonable at all. We have nothing in here. I could do it post combat, I suppose. Attack here. Because honestly, if they block and put all the counters on the 1/1, I'm going to be very happy with that. Like I say, you know what the season does. Please don't do that. Exile, and maybe make a 1/1. My real problem there is they get to draw cards. Exile. I guess exile here. I'm gonna exile things. No, it's a little bit weird. Then I'm probably looking to play Virtue here and just hoping their hand's kind of dead. Or is not as good. Maybe I should have cleared out the creatures. It's a little weird. Like killing the creatures and then like the cases are popping off every turn makes it so hard to maintain a board state. Will they keep the cards in hand and allow our Beza to be a card draw? I don't think so. Well, update. We kind of get our turn planned out for us regardless. Now they'll hit 5. They'll hit 5 life, so they can crack the cases. But so far, what's on board is actually not really that bad for us. Okay. Here's the problem. If I guess we can just see what they do at combat here. Right? So let us go to combat. Let us attack with Preacher and attack with this. If they're looking to pop the case, I'm like kind of fine with it. I guess I should have maybe just locked down and attacked with Preacher, but they don't block regardless, which I didn't really figure they would. So now we get to do this, but now I lose a 1/1. That's kind of the problem. I shouldn't have lost my 1/1 for free here, but I don't know. Absorb everything, and now that Deep-Cavern Bat in that graveyard is not going to be able to do anything. Now they could have a get lost for this, and that would get a lot back and trigger the cases immensely, and then they would also get my Beza back. But they might be able to sack this, which they can. Then they can get their Deep-Cavern Bat. Okay. Beza, was nice knowing you, but Preacher can outrace a Deep-Cavern Bat alone, so I'm not that upset. Play the Virtue. We know where we're at. We'll attack. Make our 1/1. Probably no way they block, of course. Hit. And honestly, just in case I draw a big Virtue, I'd rather just do it. Unless they're gone already. I don't think so. No. I used it in the mono red matchup, not this one. Kind of at the point where some of my games are starting to mesh. I have no idea. Ooh, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good way to win. Now I take 2. Another land is not really where I want to be. They can't block anyway, so let's attack. Gain 2 more back. Play the Surveil land. Fountainport's like almost fine. It's just not. But here's the issue. As this game kind of progresses, if they don't get a lot of life gain in, I have 5 life to be gained. And that's dangerous. That is definitely dangerous. Now, they might just use them to block, of course. On the 5. Oh my gosh, bro. 4. I'm gaining 5 plus 2. It's just lethal, right? Unless they die to their own augurs, which is possible, I guess. Yeah, so we see a block, which I still wanted to gain the life, so I had to. Go to 10. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Requiring to hit something. 0. I know why this is in here, but man, has it felt not great. The case, they draw up. Any way to gain life on ETB, which they now have a case, so they definitely can. I lose. Kind of came down to just drawing a lot of lands in a row. Yeah. Have a creature to play. Play a creature, and I'm dead. It still does it, right? Because if they lose life and they gain life, you can make a 1/1. Okay, I did. Got it, man. Alright, we go first. Very cool. Good hand. I'm about sick of this card already. Every time I find it, it does nothing at all in the matchup, but maybe it'll prove itself here against what seems like the blue mage. Ah, okay. Alright, well, you can do something. You'll just have to do it later, because blowing that up doesn't really help me out. And then we can play Liliana, start plussing maybe, or play Zoraline, look to bring stuff back, but most likely they'll have removal. Yeah, it's kind of why I thought I maybe should keep it. Shutdown's pretty bad. Beza's pretty good. Now it's like, do I play Lily for discards, or do I play Zoraline, maybe force them to remove my stuff? Down to play Zoraline here. Because now if they play something else, it's just like a discard effect. I can maybe get rid of my Lily and bring it back with Zoraline. Or I have like the Loran to bring back. If I don't just play a Beza. Sure. Sure. With this hand, honestly, it's just get rid of Lily. Play here, play this. Now we have like kind of a cushion in a way. You can Virtue and then do whatever, or play Liliana of their own. Or black can win if they do this. I do know that.
Sacrifices must be made.
No, their case will probably get upgraded. Here. How much more removal do we think they have? Do I play Preacher? Do I play Zoraline? I feel like they got to be close to out, but I don't really want to play the Deep-Cavern Bat and then just like have it never do anything. Going for the high-end play. If it works, it works. Who knows? Maybe they'll have removal. It is vulnerable to Virtue, but they don't play more than like 2. There's a blast zone. Sure. End it. Okay. I will do the... Honestly, I guess I do Preacher, because if I don't draw land, it's actually better that I have this still up. Well, I guess I lose both, right? Because Lily, unless they want their last card. Interesting. All the way around. Alright, well. Okay. I don't know why it's taking my opponents to decide forever on their plays right now. Like, obviously you'd play the Banish talent. Like, why would you not? Yeah. It's like, doesn't make sense to not play the Banish talent. We just bring back things that matter here. Honestly, I could bring back Liliana. But I think I bring this back. One of these that are pumped. Then...
Fine. I'll take my zombies and leave.
I do. I think I just play it. I have good cards like Seasons that I want to have 5 mana for. Against the discard deck, you're actually like safest when you're empty-handed, except for a situation like that they didn't pop a Hopeless Nightmare for some reason. Which, personally, I don't think it's a good play. You just got rewarded for it though. A little tough. Sure. Yeah? It's a good one. We're at 24. It's so high on life total. It's just going to be hard to keep up. Most likely, they're just going to barrel one of these next turn. They don't sack the Nightmare, which I feel like they should, but who knows. Save Loran in case they play like a Liliana. Oh, they do it this time. Okay. They didn't do it last time. It got rewarded, and this time they're going to do it. All right. Sweet. Not bad, bro. Didn't realize you had it like that. No, this time I was more for Bandit's talent being like fired up to the top mode. Maybe seeing Loran made him nervous. Double go bottom. Yeah, you can put a counter on Blast Zone. It'll take 2 turns. It'll only go to 2 here. Thinking about popping it? Just pay for that. You don't have to. I don't think I'd give them a card right now. Take a little bit. Not in a happy spot by any stretch. Now our Virtue stays in hand. Sure. Interesting timing. Just need one more land and they can play a Virtue, whether they'll go that route or not. I probably would. Taking, what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. And then I'm gaining 2, but then I'm losing more off the Bandit's talent every turn. I have like a free 4. I can only gain 2 of it back. I guess I do make a lifelinker, so I do gain a little bit more of it back every turn. And now I'll gain 3 of it back. This Virtue's probably a dead card overall. Okay, maybe not. You can't pump the Bandit's talent. A little short. What do I find? Removal, good cards, bad cards, ugly cards. Who knows? I guess I will draw, so I just don't take damage here. That gains me 4 life in theory. Okay, well. Virtue's becoming closer to play. I can attack with my Preacher, and I can force him to do whatever, but I can also just, like... Is it worth it, you think? Do I think? I'm not sure. Would like this to just be protected, though. That's the main thing. It's kind of tough. Like, without it, it's not protected at all. Now we can attack, and now we have the ability to sack our token and ensure that these Bandit's talents aren't getting any value because of this. Like, this is actually a pretty good draw. We attack. They could have found something, but I'm not sure. If their response is to play this not Blast Zone, play one of these Virtues, I do feel a little bit more comfortable because we can kind of beat whatever creatures are floating around. Sure. That goes to 2. Only problem with that is now next turn, if you want to put it on 3, it still requires another turn. And we are even. So this Preacher, if they attack, does do wonders, and this Deep-Cavern Bat's going to be a little upset. I am now going to play the Virtue first, unless they force me to discard this. In which I'll play Virtue, and Zoraline's going to do wonders in my deck. Comparatively. Are they going to put Blast Zone on 3? I'm not really sure. We're already looking to sacrifice our creature here, in a sense, so we might as well protect our life total best we can. Blast Zone's holding all this priority. That's why they keep stopping. Not their fault. It's just the way Blast Zone works. We'll do this. I'll sack that token, so I'll take no damage. I'll draw that extra card. And now, like, these won't be able to do anything. They could get rid of this because it was forcing draws. And interestingly enough, they do. Maybe they have another way to make me discard. Hopefully not the 4th Bandit's Talent at this point. That'd be pretty bad. Be very bad. I feel like it is, though. They're 4 mana. Okay. These are the 2 saddest Deep-Cavern Bats I've ever seen. So now I actually have an option, right? So now I can play land, I can play this Virtue, and I think that's more important. Blast Zone's tapped. I can keep bringing stuff back. I can attack. My life total is a little bit higher, but we can kind of equal that out. Also, holding this Aclazotz in play means, like, I'm better off. That's why we want this around, but we're definitely double attacking here. Gain this one back. They might trade off. 1/1 will jump in front of the Preacher. I have too many cards currently in hand for this to work. And talents to work. I haven't pumped them yet, but I guess with my hand size, it's a little bit weirder to go for this because you know right now it's not going to work. Now Blast Zone on 3 is really questionable. Now it kind of just hurts them more than anybody. And I can bring Zoraline back with Liliana, and I can minus on some stuff if I need to. Kind of going to have to do some math here. We are in a little bit of trouble. It comes to this board overall. I guess we bring another Preacher back, but I think Liliana... Actually, it's not best because they make a 1/1. I forgot I could just bring back Beza. It's not Zoraline. Because I was thinking bring Zoraline back, and then, like, what would I reanimate with that to flood the board? But right here, Beza is just the best thing. We find a second Virtue, which is actually huge. I'll probably just hold this land to make these a little bit more relevant. And now I probably just do Virtue, play Aclazotz, I guess. That's how I'm feeling. Like, get rid of this. Now, they could pop the Blast Zone, which would counter that, but I don't think that's a great decision either. Now I play Aclazotz. We've sat in this weird spot where they haven't had the lands to play these quite yet. With my Virtue online, I'm definitely attacking here. I'll take more cards. This is taking 1 damage for us, but it's preventing 4. How you have to think about it. Block with the 1/1, which also then, like, if I want to bring back Zoraline, it makes it a little bit more relevant. Because then Zoraline can look to bring back Liliana. Now it's, are you putting an extra counter on that? Going to 3. And are you looking to pop it? Blast Zone is typically better in decks where you're playing at instant speed a lot more often. So you're able to crack it whenever you need to. Or, like, put a lot of counters into it whenever you need to. Like, in this matchup, it's a bit weird. They're a bit tap out heavy, like Mono Black is. And that's what I found out. Because I'm pretty sure I also played it in Mono Black. But I always found it kind of awkward. Because you're always wanting to tap out. And then 3 is kind of the most common mid-range card. I think, yeah, I was saying, I think it's just a good game. But I would respect them. It's respectable if they play it out. But again, Mono Black just, they whittled my hand down. They got me all the way down. And then we just found a way to maintain 2 to 3 cards in hand. And then playing the lands, they couldn't get rid of them. 2 Deep-Cavern Bats did nothing. And we, once again, this matchup just ended up grinding it out. It's so weird. So weird. All right, well, I'm going to call it. I'm really tired, to be honest with you. I had the water company, for anybody that cares. Not water company. I had somebody come fix the water line to my house today, which got me up really early. And I typically do my recordings pretty late at night because that's kind of my schedule. My schedule is like I work till roughly 8 o'clock, and then I do some stuff that I have to do. I have dogs, obviously. But it's all good, I think. Everything's fine. Big chunk of change needs to be paid, which is tough. That's not great, but that's okay. So here we are with the outro of this deck. It's very solid. I think any deck that wins a super qualifier is probably going to be really, really good, especially when it comes to best of 3. I think Orzhov shines a lot more in those type of scenarios because you can get your bad cards out, get your good cards in for the matchup. So, like, temporary lockdown if we're against aggro. Well, we got 2 more in the sideboard. If we need heavy discard but our opponent's playing good cards, we get to play the Cruelclaw's Heist. If we need more discard, we got 2 extra Lilies. We got Bezas for the aggro. We got Elspeth Smites if needed. They're a little separated here, as you can see. There's 2 in there. Then we have a Sunfall, which is probably the only card in here that you might be like, well, we do play a lot of important creatures, and if we have to Sunfall, it's a little tough. And then Kaya is a little expensive when it comes to that, but in best of 3, the hand smoothing algorithm's not there, so your games are a little bit different. So here's the entire list. It'll also be in the description, the entire thing. But yeah, I've talked about Orzhov quite a bit. I think it's my personal favorite deck to play whenever it's kind of good and able to be rocked. A lot of times we find ourselves in a weird spot where like we're trying to play a Zoraline and then we just die, or we play a Liliana, she's not good enough, or we play a Preacher and we're just holding on for dear life. It's just this weird ongoing game. But that's just mono red. I think everybody's experiencing that right now because mono red is just so good. I know I bring it up quite a lot, and I know a lot of other channels do as well, but I mean it's just so good, dude. It's so hard to beat. But with that said, I don't have a lot more to say. I'm just going to call it there. Like I said, I'm a little tired. But with that said, catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.